Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, today we're doing a side-by-side camera comparison between the iPhone 6s Plus and the Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. They need to change their names. Alright, so with these two models, we really are going to see which one really is the best camera. We're going to go through 4 different categories and see which one really wins out overall. First off, I do want to start this off by the iPhone 6s Plus has done a huge leap in camera quality compared to the iPhone 6 Plus we reviewed about a month ago compared to the Edge Plus. It really has just done a huge improvement, and I want to start off with that. And you can see right away in this low light photo. In this low light photo, the iPhone has definitely improved in terms of the quality between these two. So as we zoom into it, we can just see that the iPhone 6s Plus photo quality has just definitely picked up overall. You can just see in terms of the clarity, the low light, you can see just in terms of the blinds, everything just looks a lot better when compared to the years past iPhones. So kudos to Apple on that. Now, while it does really look great, especially from a landscape view, so when you just zoom out, it just really looks good. However, when you zoom in, that's when you start to notice a lack of details, a lot of noise inside of it, and the detail isn't as clear. Although, again, we can see the number a bit better than we could in previous iPhones. It's still not clear compared to other smartphones we have reviewed with this low light comparison. With the Edge Plus, however, you do get more in your shot, first of all. So you can see it's just a much wider shot when putting it up top against the iPhone. But then when we look more in detail to it, you can also see a bit more as well. So you can see a bit more in clarity no matter how far I zoom in. You can really see in terms of the address. So that's really nice. And just again, in terms of the detail, it just really shows off. In terms of even you can see the light in this area a lot better. So just on the details and they're subtle, but you definitely can notice them on things like the bars again because you did pick up more light on this one, and this one did not have the lens flare issues that the Note 5 did in this same camera comparison between those two. The lens flare was kept down, but it still let through a lot more light on the building than the iPhone 6s Plus did. So overall, when it comes to low light, though the iPhone 6s does have a really great sort of dramatic looking shot with this photo, it definitely is in the better overall photo, especially when going to cropping in any low light situation. The Edge Plus is going to take it. Now, as we move through, this next category is for details. So this is all about details and picking up details overall. And I did crop the edge photo a little bit in this one so that it's more symmetrical and we have this similar style. However, I do want to point out on here again that the iPhone 6s Plus definitely picked up details because it is 12 megapixels now. So when we zoom into it, it's nowhere near as blurry as it used to be. So as we zoom in, you can see that overall, yes, the detail is much better on the iPhone than before. Still a little fuzziness around the edges, say of like 4 right here and the D3 right here. But overall, again, just a really high quality compared to before. So really good overall. The PS3 and PS4 is really good. Some of the titles are a bit less, but still really good quality overall. Now, when it comes to the Edge Plus, we got a little bit of a brighter exposure here. So the iPhone a little bit underexposed and the Edge Plus a bit overexposed. So the whites are very white, but it's not necessarily a good thing because it doesn't always match in terms of detail then. However, when we zoom in, we do really notice that some parts are very clear. So the D3 and 4 are much sharper than on the iPhone. But for the Sphero part, it's not as clear as the Note 5 did per se. Overall, the titles are going to be better, as well as the PS3 and PS4 part is about the same. So this is pretty much closer. The Edge does get a little bit better in terms of picking up certain parts, but not overwhelmingly so. So I would call this the edge just because it still does get a little bit better quality, but not by much. This is almost a draw. And then we have here, which is the color reproduction portion of our test. And one thing I will note out here that the iPhone 6, one of the biggest flaws I would say that it has, as we'll notice in this picture and the next, is that it still doesn't have the wide angle shot. So on your rear camera and on your front camera, you get more in your shot, as you can see here with the Edge Plus than you do with the iPhone. That's why there's always this white banner here, just because I put it against just a regular white sheet just to see the difference. Now, again, one of the biggest issues I've always had with the iPhones, particularly, is that it gets the carpet the wrong color for some reason. This is the color of my carpet, and this is the color that iPhone always represents it in these comparisons, and I still just I can't fathom why. Now, in terms of depth and shade, the Edge Plus definitely just does a better job overall of just getting that depth with the shading. However, in terms of the color reproduction, they're both really close on these two. Where you notice it stand out more is definitely it handles the whites better here. This is a struggle for a lot of smartphones. So this area really just does a lot better job, whereas it kind of blends in and it's kind of whitewashed in the iPhone 6 Edge, or sorry, 6S Plus versus the Edge Plus. It really just kind of you can distinguish between the different colors. So it does a bit better job here, and also in terms of when we go to the actual part of the sheriff right here, we can notice that the red is actually the color that it is, which is more of a regular red color. Whereas here it looks more of like a darker red. It's sort of in between actually overall in the photo, but this did get definitely things like the paper on it, whereas the Apple kind of washed it out. It is more of a yellowish paper. So overall, the color reproduction did a bit better job on the Edge Plus between this. But in certain colors, you cannot notice certain things like green here and certain reds and yellows. You cannot notice between the two. But just overall, I would say whites and certain color tones. Well, white here again, it doesn't get whites as well on the iPhone 6s Plus. And finally, the moment you all been waiting for, selfies. So selfies, we have a huge difference here on the iPhone 6s Plus, and I will note that one, I did try two different photos with the iPhone 6s Plus and took out the best one. I tried one with the flash on automatic, which it felt it did need the flash, and I did one without it. So I did keep the better between the two of the iPhone 6s Plus, just to give it a better overall comparison. And I did not use a third-party front flash for the S6 Edge Plus. I just kept it as is out of the camera. So now that being said, again, here we get the huge difference in terms of the phones because it is so much of a wider angle on the Edge Plus compared to the compared to the S Plus, the 6S Plus. So overall, it's just so much of a better shot on the Edge Plus photo. Although the iPhone does give up close, we have this be our under over exposure test. So to see the background, it really just kind of it gets destroyed overall. This does a much better job as where the iPhone 6, oops, sorry, as the iPhone 6 Plus from last year whitewashed this completely, and it was even more distorted on this side. It does a better job of underexposing the top right here, but it definitely, or sorry, it doesn't overexpose the shot here, but it does underexpose it over here. So it just looks really fuzzy in the background, and you will get that in more of your shots. It is an up close shot because obviously it can't be a wide angle, but just look at how much more you can get in your shot with the Edge Plus. This alone, to me, is a huge standout. But also the clarity in the overall shot is just far less noisy on this side and far less overexposed on this side. So just a huge amount more clarity in comparison between the iPhone and this one. Just a huge difference in terms of getting more in the shot and also better color reproduction because of the fact that the flash is a flash. You kind of get washed out on one side more in particular than the other. I found in most of the shots I've taken, it kind of leans itself towards one side of the photo. All right. So as we go through them, low light is taken by the Edge Plus. Although the iPhone 6s did do a huge upgrade from last year, it's still not exactly where it needs to be, especially when it comes to the detail after zooming in. With the detail photo, it is going to be much closer. It could pretty much be a tie with this one. Overall, in this particular photo, yes, the Edge Plus did do a lot better, but it's a lot closer. And then in color reproduction, the Edge Plus does take it, especially when it comes to whites. It just seems to do a much better job overall. And finally, the selfie comparison, the Edge Plus just gets so much more in the shot, and it's a better overall shot. Will be much better in terms of low light photos too, without ever needing to kind of overexpose yourself with the S Plus photo. Alright guys, hopefully you did like this video. If you did, please give a like, thumbs up down below. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.